He saved her from the battle, not even realizing he was rescuing a future queen. The battlefield burned red under the twin suns. Smoke choked the air, broken machines hissed their last breaths, and corpses, human and alien alike, lay tangled in the dirt. Kalen staggered forward, his rifle empty, his armor cracked and scorched. His company had been annihilated in the Dominion ambush, and he alone remained breathing. He pressed a hand to his bleeding side but kept moving. To stop was to die. Then, faintly, through the smoke, he heard it. A cry. Not the battle scream of soldiers, but the panicked voice of someone helpless. Kalen forced himself toward it. He found her half buried in rubble, pinned beneath the wreckage of a transport skimmer. She was young, no more than 20, her dark hair matted with blood. Her clothes were torn but ornate, stitched with threads of silver and blue unlike anything a commoner would wear. Her eyes widened at him, bright with fear. "Please," she whispered. Kalen didn't hesitate. "The rescue." He threw his rifle aside and braced his hands against the wreckage. Pain screamed through his body, but he heaved until the metal shifted. The girl gasped as he dragged her free, blood streaking his hands from the effort. "You're safe now," he said, voice rough. Safe was a lie. The Dominion wasn't far. But it was all he had to offer. Why would you help me?" she asked weakly as he slung her arm over his shoulder. Kalen didn't answer. He didn't know himself. She was a stranger, and yet something in her eyes demanded he protect her, even if it killed him. Into the wilds. He carried her away from the battlefield, weaving through the ruins until they reached the tree-line. The forest swallowed them whole, shadows stretching long under the fading suns. She was light in his arms, but burning with fever. When they finally stopped, Kalen set her down beside a stream and tore strips from his undershirt to bandage her wounds. "You'll live," he muttered. Her gaze softened as she studied him. "You're human." "A soldier." "Was," he corrected bitterly. "Not much of one now. What is your name?" "Kalen." She hesitated, then said quietly, "I am Selira." Something in the way she said it carried weight, but Kalen was too focused on keeping her alive to notice. Pursuit. For days, Kalen kept them moving. The Dominion's patrols scoured the forests, their searchlights cutting through the night. Twice he nearly died, once dragging Selira across a river in the dark, another time ambushing a pair of scouts with nothing but a broken blade. Through it all, she watched him. Not just with gratitude, but with something deeper, something unspoken. One night, as they huddled in a cave, Selira whispered, "You should have left me." Kalen frowned. "Not my style." "You don't understand," she pressed. "If they find me with you, they'll kill you. They've been trying all week. Not much luck so far." He managed a faint smile, though his exhaustion was plain. For the first time, she smiled back. The reveal. On the 7th night, the forest exploded with fire. Dominion soldiers stormed their hideout, plasma bolts searing the cave walls. Kalen shoved Selira behind him and fought with everything he had left. He cut down 3 before a blast caught him in the chest, throwing him to the ground. The soldiers advanced. But before they could strike, Selira rose. And the air changed. Her blood, hidden till now, ignited in her veins. A crown of blue fire shimmered above her head, and her voice echoed with power that made the soldiers tremble. "Leave," she commanded. "Or burn." The Dominion faltered, then broke, fleeing into the forest as if the very shadows turned against them. Kalen lay stunned, half-conscious. What are you?" Selira knelt beside him, her hand trembling as it touched his chest plate. Her eyes glowed with the fire of her lineage. "I am Selira Valen," she said softly. "First daughter of the house of Valen, heir to the Illyrian throne." Kalen blinked, trying to comprehend. "You're a queen." "Not yet," she whispered. But one day, the choice. When dawn came, Salira's people arrived. Sleek ships descended into the clearing, warriors in gleaming armor kneeling before her. "Your Majesty," they said in unison. Kaelin stepped back, suddenly aware of the gulf between them. He was just a broken soldier. She was royalty, destined to rule worlds. Salira turned to him, her expression unreadable. "You saved me, Kaelin. Without you, I would be dead. My people owe you a debt that cannot be repaid." "I didn't do it for a debt," he muttered. "Then why?" He met her eyes. For once, he had no answer. The Illyrian general stepped forward. "He cannot remain. A human at your side will endanger you. Allow us to dispose of him, quietly." Kaelin tensed, hand drifting toward his weapon. He knew what came next. But Salira lifted her hand sharply. "No. He is under my protection. The man who saved my life will never be discarded." The general bowed reluctantly. Salira turned back to Kaelin, her gaze burning. "Come with me." He shook his head. "I don't belong in your world." "You belong wherever I say you do," she said softly, but firmly. "And I say I want you at my side." Epilogue. Kaelin boarded her ship at dawn, still wounded, still unsure of what lay ahead. Salira sat upon her throne, radiant even in her youth, her crown shimmering faintly above her head. But when she looked at him, she wasn't a queen. She was the girl he had pulled from the rubble, the one he had carried through fire and shadow. And though he didn't yet know it, history would remember that moment, not as the day she became queen, but as the day her reign began with a man who saved her life. Together, they would change the fate of empires.